I bought a house in secret, then uncovered a shocking plot by my daughter-in-law at 3 a.m. The sun sank low, bleeding colors across the sky, as Clara stepped into what she hoped would be her fresh start. She had bought the old Victorian house in an impulsive moment, the kind that gives you a rush like a roller coaster plummeting from the heights. The creaking floorboards whispered secrets, the walls seemed to breathe the musty air of a past long lost, and the shadows stretched menacingly, dancing to an unknown rhythm. Inside, Clara felt a mix of excitement and dread. The old place had charm, but a lurking sense of something wrong hung in the air. The first sign struck her like a bolt of lightning. Early that night, she heard soft whispers emanating from the attic, but no one was there. Just Clara, and the shadows. What kind of house did she just invest her future in? Heart pounding, she climbed the narrow staircase, each step echoing like a warning. As she reached the attic door, icy dread crawled up her spine. A single light flickered, giving life to the darkness, and the air grew heavy with secrets begging to be revealed. A witnessing glance through the dusty window showed her daughter-in-law, Tara, pacing in front of the house. She had been acting suspicious lately ever since Clara revealed her plans to move in. Why was Tara digging into the family history? Tomorrow would mark a full week since the move, and Clara couldn't shake the feeling that Tara was harboring a deep, dark secret. Something sinister was brewing, and it bubbled just below the surface, waiting to explode. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. That night, Clara couldn't sleep. The silence was deafening. Tara's face swirled in Clara's mind, a mix of concern and curiosity weaving into the fabric of the air around her. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the attic, ripping through her exhausted thoughts. It was too much. Clara burst from her room, adrenaline pumping, feet pounding the stairs like drums of war. What was going on? What could Tara possibly be hiding? She flung the attic door open, and the light flickered once more, a cruel joke cast by unwelcoming shadows. And there it was, a hidden trunk, ornate and locked, tucked in the corner where the walls seemed to warp. Clara felt a tightness in her chest. The trunk beckoned like a siren, promising knowledge cloaked in danger. Was this the key to unraveling whatever web Tara had spun? Or was it Pandora's box, to unleash horrors best left hidden? The choice loomed heavy as her trembling hand reached for the latch, her pulse racing, breath caught in her throat. And just then, footsteps echoed from below. Clara froze. The footsteps grew louder, purposeful and heavy, breaking the silence that suffocated her. She felt a jolt of panic surge as she withdrew her hand from the trunk, heart thudding in her chest like a frantic bird. What if it was Tara? What if she caught Clara digging into family secrets? The thought propelled her back, and she scrambled to step out of the attic, closing the door quietly behind her. Breathless, she pressed her ear against the door, straining to hear what was happening below. The footsteps stopped. A chilling silence enveloped the house. Clara's heart raced as the realization hit her. She was alone in this ominous place, and the shadows seemed to close in around her. Suddenly, she heard a low, murmured voice. It was Tara's. Clara couldn't make out the words, but the urgency in her tone sent chills down her spine. What was she saying? Who was she talking to? Clara dared to peek through the attic door's small crack, adrenaline pooling in her veins. Tara was standing in the living room, backlit by the dim moonlight shining through the window. Next to her was a dark figure, just out of Clara's line of sight. Something deep inside her twisted in dread. Was it another family member, or was it someone else entirely? Clara's mind raced with dread. The hairs on the back of her neck bristled, and she felt the weight of the house's secrets pressing down on her. she needed to know what Tara was up to. Steeling her resolve, Clara took a deep breath and edged back away from the door. Quiet as a mouse, she crept down the steep staircase, the floor creaking softly beneath her feet. Each step felt monumental, as if the house itself were watching her, judging her for this intrusion. She reached the bottom and paused, listening intently. Tara's voice grew sharper now, her words tinged with anger. "You said it would be easy. She trusts me. You need to handle this before it gets out of hand." The other voice was low and soft, almost soothing, yet Clara felt the menace lurking beneath it. "You can't let her dig deeper. She has to be stopped, or everything is at risk." Clara's heart pounded louder. Risk? What had Tara got herself tangled in? She stepped closer, nearing the doorway to the living room. Shadows danced along the walls, the darkness swallowing every ounce of light. Then, just as she positioned herself to get a better look, a floorboard creaked loudly underfoot. Clara cursed silently, knowing she had blown her cover. She held her breath, praying they hadn't heard. But Tara's head snapped toward the sound, eyes wide with unmasked fear. "Who's there?" Tara's voice sliced the air, fierce and demanding. Panic surged through Clara's veins, and before she could think, she turned and sprinted back towards the attic, heart racing with dread of what Tara might do next. She flung the attic door open again, her breaths coming in gasps. The trunk awaited, ominous and foreboding. Would it reveal the truth, or doom Clara to uncover something even darker? She locked her gaze on it. This was no longer just a mystery. This was a race against time, against Tara's schemes. She could feel it in her bones. The time for hiding had passed. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps thundered up the stairs, louder and more insistent. Clara gripped the latch of the trunk tighter, ready to pry it open. Her finger hovered, poised to unleash whatever lay within. And then, the attic door slammed shut behind her. What awaited Clara now, confined in darkness, as her last chance slipped away? Clara's breath hitched in her throat as the darkness enveloped her, thick and suffocating. She quickly felt her heartbeat dull with fear. The trunk loomed before her like a silent sentry, its secrets begging to be unleashed. But her frantic mind struggled against the fear gripping her. Was opening it risking everything? Footsteps echoed ominously from the stairway, each one thundering like a distress signal in her ears. Panic gripped her. What if it was Tara? What would she do if she found Clara here, hiding in the attic? The low murmur of Tara's conversation still lingered in her mind, words laced with urgent warnings. Clara needed to act fast. Clara hesitated, then knelt beside the trunk, her fingers trembling as they brushed its cool surface. She could feel the weight of the mystery pressing down on her. Whatever Tara was involved in, it was dangerous. She leaned in closer, listening intently to the rapid footsteps. They were getting nearer. Just as she unlatched the trunk, the sound of a fierce knock reverberated through the attic door. "Clara! Open this door!" Tara's voice was sharp, filled with anger. Clara's heart tightened. She was trapped, her vulnerability exposing her to whatever wrath Tara had concocted beneath their roof. "Clara!" Tara yelled again, this time with a threatening edge. "You know I'll handle this. Open up before I come in there." Each word was a needle piercing Clara's resolve. She raked her fingers through her hair, glancing at the trunk again. Whatever lay inside was both a potential salvation and a curse. The memory of Tara's fierce pleas echoed in her mind, and Clara's got twisted with the realization that she had to know the truth, even if it meant facing the shadows. Gathering her courage, she pulled the trunk wide open. Dark velvet filled the air like a whisper, revealing an assortment of papers, photographs, and a worn leather journal. Each piece hovered with memories waiting to be unveiled. Clara plucked the journal from the chest and opened it gingerly. The pages were filled with neat, looping handwriting. It belonged to someone named Meredith. As she scanned the entries, a sense of foreboding washed over her. They spoke of secrets, family grievances, and plans that had been set into motion long before Clara had arrived. Suddenly, the attic door rattled violently, jerking Clara from her trance. "Clara! I swear, if you don't open this door." Tara's threat faded, but the urgency was palpable. Clara felt sweat bead on her forehead. She was running out of time. She quickly shoved the journal under her shirt, praying it was the key to understanding Tara's true intentions. With desperation nudging her into action, Clara scrambled up from the trunk but stumbled back as the attic door splintered open. Tara stood there, silhouetted against the hallway light, a fierce storm contained in a woman's glare. Clara felt the tension shift, adrenaline firing hard against her veins. "What have you done?" Tara's voice was barely restrained, almost cold enough to freeze the air around them. Clara's pulse raced. Memories swirled, the whispered secrets, Tara's anxiety, everything leading to this moment. I was just what?" Tara snapped, eyes narrowing. "Did you think you could uncover this and not face the consequences?" Clara steadied herself, heart pounding in her ears. Dread cramped her throat as Tara took a step forward. "You need to listen to me. If you think you can walk away from this, you're wrong." With the truth crammed in her chest, Clara realized she had a choice. Fight, or run. Would she confront the storm head-on, or flee into the uncertainty of night? "Tell me. What's at stake?" Clara demanded, her voice steadier than her trembling heart. Tara's expression morphed, revealing something raw, something beneath her controlled anger. "You have no idea what the truth really is." At that moment, the house creaked ominously, as if it threatened to swallow them whole. Clara held her breath, waiting for Tara's answer, but she knew whatever Tara said next, nothing would be the same again. The truth was upon them, but what awaited Clara might shatter everything she thought she knew. The air crackled with tension, a heavy silence settling between them like a blanket of dread. Clara's heart raced, each beat echoing louder as if anticipating the storm that was about to erupt. "Look, Tara," Clara said, trying to keep her voice steady despite the fear coiling in her stomach. "I found something. Something important." Tara's brow furrowed, her anger flickering like a dying flame. "What do you mean? Did you look at what was in there? You weren't supposed to touch that." "I had to know." Clara shot back, surprising herself with the fierceness of her words. "You can't keep me in the dark forever. This family, your secrets, it's all tied to whoever Meredith is, isn't it?" Tara's gaze sharpened, a flash of fear darting across her face. "You need to put that back. You don't understand the danger you're inviting." "What danger?" Clara pressed, feeling each word hang in the frigid air. "What are you so afraid of?" A flicker of hesitation crossed Tara's features, but it was quickly masked by her steely resolve. "You think you're ready to understand? The past is a vicious beast, and opening that trunk is like waking it from a deep slumber." Before Clara could respond, a low growl echoed from deep within the house, an unsettling sound that sent shivers racing down her spine. Tara stiffened, her grip tightening on the doorframe. "We need to go. Now." Clara's resolve wavered, but she couldn't let Tara sway her. "No. Not until you tell me everything. I have a right to know. What's behind all this?" The shadows cast by the attic light flickered as Tara stepped closer, her voice a whisper edged with desperation. "Meredith was my mother. And what she hid, it's dangerous, Clara. It involves people that will stop at nothing to keep their secrets safe." Clara's heart lurched, confusion mingling with a rush of revelation. Tara's mother? The pieces clicked, but the magnitude of the truth began to drown her. "You were part of this too. What were you trying to protect me from?" "I was trying to protect you from me." Tara's voice broke, a crack in her armor. If they knew you were here, you wouldn't be safe." Suddenly, the growling intensified, echoing through the wooden beams above like thunder. It felt alive, like something lurking in the dark. Clara turned her head, scanning the dim attic space, eyes darting back to Tara in alarm. "What is that?" But Tara's expression had shifted. She was no longer just scared, she was terrified. It's them. They're here. Without thinking, Clara darted for the attic window, her heart racing in rhythm with her thoughts. We have to get out of here. If they're here, we can't stay. They could come after us. Clara. Tara's voice rose, pulling Clara back from the ledge of panic. Stay down. Do you understand? It's not safe. Just then, the roof creaked ominously, the sound morphing into a resounding thud. Clara's breath caught, eyes pulled toward the door, which was no longer swinging and creaking against the frame. It remained ominously still, as if something outside were listening, waiting. With a desperate lunge, Clara grabbed Tara's wrist. We need to leave. We need to find that truth together. Whatever it takes. Before Tara could respond, the door burst open, slamming against the wall, revealing a shadowy figure cloaked in darkness, a smirk curling on their lips, the kind that sent chills spiraling down Clara's spine. Ah, the prodigal daughter returns, the figure crooned. And with company, no less. Clara gasped, her world spinning as she realized the depth of the danger. She clutched Tara's arm, heart racing. This was bigger than just them. What had they stumbled into? The journal, the threats, the secrets. This wasn't merely about family anymore. It was a tangled web, and they were caught in the middle. Now, let us see how deep the rabbit hole goes, the figure taunted, a wicked glint in their eyes. Clara felt the ground shift beneath her. With every passing second, she knew they were running out of time. Would they face the truth together, or would the shadows devour them both? The next moment would change everything. The figures stepped into the attic light, their features starting to formalize from the cloak of darkness. Clara's heart pounded like a war drum, each thud rattling her bones. A chill swept through her, stirring visions of ancient shadows whispering secrets too powerful to contain. Who are you? Clara managed, her voice a thin whisper barely cutting through the oppressive air. Tara's grip on her tightened as the figure chuckled lowly, the sound crawling under her skin. Really? You don't recognize your own kin? The voice was smooth, mocking, reeking of familiarity and contempt. I'm your father's little secret, or did he omit that detail too? Clara's breath hitched, a lump of disbelief rising in her throat. What do you want from us? Her instincts screamed at her to flee, but the shadows of truth loomed larger and darker. Ah, but that's just it, sweet Clara. I want what's rightfully mine, the figure said, stepping closer, revealing a face too much like her own. And it just so happens that the woman beside you holds the key. Tara stiffened, her face paling as recognition triggered panic in her eyes. No, it can't be. She looked at Clara, desperation pouring from her. Stay behind me. The figure laughed, a sickly sweet sound that twisted Clara's stomach. A noble response, dear sister. But we both know this is beyond your control now. Before Clara could react, the figure lunged, sweeping into the attic with an unexpected ferocity. Clara ducked just in time, adrenaline coursing through her veins as she shoved Tara aside. There was no room for hesitation. Get the trunk. Tara shouted, scrambling backward. It's all in there. Clara's mind raced. The trunk, they had to figure out what it held, what secrets it kept, but now they had a rogue sibling ready to pounce. Do you think I'd come here unprepared? The figure sneered, pulling something glimmering from beneath their cloak, a small vial filled with a swirling, ominous substance. What's the fun in a fair fight? I prefer the odds in my favor. The attic darkened as the figure raised the vial high. Clara felt the air grow thick, electric with danger. What is that? She screamed. Just a little something to cloud your judgment, the figure replied, a manic grin spreading across their face. You want to fight me, you'll beg for what I offer. Clara glanced at Tara, whose eyes mirrored her own fear and resolve. We can't let them get the trunk. Right. Tara shouted, determination replacing the fear at least for a heartbeat. I'll distract them. You go. Before Clara could argue, Tara charged at the figure, a fierce scream slicing the silence. "I want to let you take anything." Clara's instincts kicked in, heart racing. Tara was risking everything. She lunged for the trunk, her hands fumbling with the lock, desperation overriding her mind. The latch clicked open, and she flung the lid wide. Inside lay the journal Tara had mentioned. But next to it was more, a cache of documents and photos. Each image told a story of betrayal, of smiles masking grim truths. She could feel eyes burning into her back, senses sharpening. "No!" the figure shouted, furious. "You're not allowed to understand." As Clara grabbed the journal, the attic door slammed shut, plunging them into darkness. "Now you've done it!" the figure hissed, their voice echoing, thick with rage. "You've sealed your fate." With trembling hands, Clara flipped the journal open, her pulse racing in sync with the flickering light, frantic words spilling across the page, hints of a conspiracy spiraling far deeper than she could have ever imagined. Time distorted around her, past and present colliding, revealing the lengths to which this family had gone to hide the truth. But as the words sank in, a shiver of realization coursed through Clara. This was not just about her lineage, it was about survival, about grasping darkness before it swallowed her whole. With a sudden rush of clarity, Clara looked up as the figure lunged for her. "We can't let this happen," she cried, raising the journal defensively, but the shadows were growing. Just as the figure reached for the trunk, Sarah screamed, "Clara, now!" Would the secrets of her family unite them or tear them apart, leaving only shadows in their wake? The figures of their past closed in around Clara. The truth awaited, clawing at her throat like a visible hunger. Clara's heart raced as the figure surged toward her, fury painted across their face. She gripped the journal tightly, feeling the rough edges dig into her palm, a tangible connection to the truth she desperately needed to understand. Tara's scream echoed in her ears, but it was drowned out by the chaos swirling around her. The figure lunged again, and Clara sidestepped, instinct taking over. The darkness felt alive, breathing around them, whispering threats as the flickering light cast eerie shadows on the walls. Clara could see the determination in Tara's eyes as she bravely engaged their sibling, fervently trying to buy Clara just a few precious moments. "Focus, Clara!" Tara shouted, ducking under an outstretched arm. "Read it. Find out what they want." But Clara couldn't tear her gaze away from the figure as it squared off with Tara. A dark glimmer flashed within the vial, illuminating the figure's manic smile, promising defeat, desperation clashing against fury. "Enough!" the figure barked, raising the vial menacingly, a storm brewing in their eyes. Clara felt a familiar tightness in her chest. The swirling substance inside the vial seemed to pulse, beckoning like a siren's call in the darkness. "Clara!" Tara shouted again, snapping her back to focus. "The trunk." "You have to." Forcing her eyes back to the journal, Clara flipped through the brittle pages, her hands trembling at the weight of everything it might reveal. A photograph caught her attention. It featured a family smiling faces against the backdrop of their old house. But something was amiss. A shadow loomed in the corner, a figure half concealed, watching. It sent chills racing down Clara's spine. "I won't allow this," the figure bellowed. "You think you can run from the past? It's already caught up with you." Clara's pulse quickened. What had been hidden in those aged trunks? Why had their family, with its surface sparkle, chosen to bury darkness underneath? She realized then that this wasn't just about the battle in the attic. This was about the very essence of who they were. The attic door rattled as if trying to pull them all in, the air thickening with tension. Clara scanned the journal for anything that could help expose the truth their father had meticulously guarded. She felt a twinge of guilt for having asked her dad too many questions over the years. There had always been something heavier lurking beneath the surface, and now she was paying the price for not digging deeper. Suddenly, amidst the chaos, a name jumped off the page, striking her like a lightning bolt: Lillian. The name echoed through her, sounding like a family chant meant to summon the darkest of spirits. It sparked a half-illuminated memory her mother's long-lost sister whispered about in fear. Lillian. Clara whispered. What? The figure paused, an unsettling glimmer of recognition drifting through their eyes. Clara seized her chance. You're connected to her, aren't you? This is about family curses, isn't it? The figure's face contorted with rage, intermingled with a hint of something else. Fear. Regret? Clara couldn't tell. But the dark power of the hidden truth felt tangible now, coursing through her veins like wildfire. The revelation anchored her, surrounding her with both dread and determination. You don't understand the legacy you're stepping into. The figure howled, recoiling as if she had struck a nerve. You think you can just claim what is yours? Maybe I want to unlock the truth, Clara shot back, fueled by a resolve she didn't know she had. Maybe I want to expose what you've built on lies. But behind her anger, doubt swirled, an unsettling thought blooming in the pit of her stomach. Could she truly handle what lay buried within those pages? Was she ready to unearth the secrets that had tormented their family for generations, or would she stand accused of igniting a horror greater than any of them could control? As Tara stumbled back, breath coming in ragged bursts, Clara clutched the journal, her voice fierce and trembling. I will uncover the truth, no matter the cost. A shadow flickered through the dark, lurking, waiting for the right moment to pounce. And just like that, Clara felt the evanescent ground beneath her shift, ready to swallow her whole. What other ghosts from the past would rise in response to her defiance? The figure surged forward again, its eyes wild with fury and something else in anguished desperation. Clara's pulse thundered in her ears as she held the journal before her like a shield, the pages fluttering in the tense air. Each beat of her heart screamed for escape, but the weight of the truth held her in place. Stop! Clara shouted, the word tearing from her throat like a lifeline thrown to a drowning soul. If you want to fight, you'll have to face what's in here first. Tara darted closer to Clara, fingers still grappling with her sibling's arm, but she looked back with a spark of determination. Clara, read it. It's time to confront whatever beast has haunted our family. The spirit's snarl pierced the air, low and guttural. You think this journal is your salvation? It holds doom wrapped in pretty letters. They raised the vial again, the substance inside swirling violently, catching glimmers of light and casting dark reflections on the walls. Clara focused on the journal, fighting the pressure building in her chest. Her eyes scanned every cryptic note, each undecipherable symbol. The mystery was maddening, but she caught snippets of stories, whispers of Lillian who had been cast out, who was supposedly buried in scandal and sorrow. With each word, shards of the past collided, forcing Clara to confront the threads of darkness woven into the family fabric. Legacy. Clara murmured, her voice barely audible. Legacy. The figure echoed, a mocking tone lacing their words. You dare speak of legacy when you don't even know its true nature. You haven't glimpsed the depths of despair that have followed us. Tara shifted her weight, teeth clenched. Then show us. What are you so afraid of? As if the challenge ignited a fire within the figure, they lunged again, fierce and frantic. Clara barely sidestepped, breathing heavily, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The shadows played tricks, morphing into grotesque shapes that made her instincts scream for safety, yet she stood her ground, determined and unyielding. Let me show you the true nightmare. The figure shrieked, raising the vial higher, and Clara caught a glimpse of something monstrous swirling within, faces twisted in agony, eyes wide with torment. It called to something deep inside her, a possibility that this curse, this hidden legacy, was more than mere family history. It was tangible. It was alive. Enough of this. Tara yelled, stepping forward with renewed ferocity. If we delve into darkness, we must do it together. Clara, read. We can't let the past control us. Clara's heart leaped at her sister's words, but fear coiled tighter in her gut. In a single breath, she flicked back to the photograph, the smiling family still standing there, yet the lurking figure now felt more tangible, more real. The shadows around them twisted, coiling like serpents, waiting for their moment. Lillian was cursed. She didn't die in peace, did she? She realized aloud, shaking the very attic with her words. It's her pain that haunts this family. All these secrets. The air thickened, and for a breathless moment, everything fell silent. Even the figure paused, a shard of uncertainty flickering behind the wild madness in their eyes. Stop! They spat, voice trembling for the first time, but something in Clara's voice cracked through the chaos. You don't know what you're asking for. I might not, Clara replied, voice steady, but I have to. We have to free ourselves from this nightmare. The figure took a step back, momentarily stunned, and Tara moved to Clara's side, their resolve a united front against the encroaching darkness, yet, deep within Clara's mind, shadows whirled with questions that gripped at her heart. What if unlocking the truth only unleashed more terror? What if there was no salvation, only suffering? As the shadows seemed to thicken, closing in, Clara's hand tightened around the journal, feeling the weight of history pressing down like a pressing hand on her throat. It felt like an awakening, the moment before everything could change forever. Hurry! Tara urged. We have to face it. Whatever it is. With a deep breath, Clara opened the journal wide and began to read aloud the name she feared the most, the name that could shatter everything, Lillian. A sudden gust blew through the attic, whisking away the shadows momentarily, revealing artifacts buried in fear and an echoing wail that might just belong to Lillian herself. Clara's heart sunk. The truth was surfacing, but at what cost? What darkness awaited them now that they had dared to disturb the dead? The moment Clara uttered Lillian's name, the air crackled with palpable energy, a fusion of dread and uncertainty. The attic's boards creaked beneath their feet, as if objecting to the spoken truth. Shadows danced wide-eyed around them, forming a vortex that twisted into an abstract tapestry of Lillian's tortured past. Peter. A haunting voice echoed in the silence, tugging at Clara's heart. Clara's breath hitched. No, no. Who is Peter? She whispered, scanning the journal for answers as its weathered pages threatened to flutter closed. Peter was supposed to protect her, the figure hissed, venom lacing their words, but he betrayed her. Do you even understand? Betrayal is the currency of our legacy. Tara's grip tightened. What happened? Tell us. The haunting tone shifted, morphing into something almost pleading. To see her pain is to glimpse into the abyss. Her rage consumes anyone who dares unveil the truth. Clara's mind raced. Peter. Was he the key? She turned the pages feverishly, each snatch of narrative revealing more than she was prepared for: a tale of love turned to ashes, jealousy that birthed malevolence, and Lillian's desperate longing for freedom. Clara, look! Tara pointed as a pale mist unfurled from the journal, creeping closer. It formed eerie shapes, barely human, each figure bearing faces twisted in anguish. The realization hit Clara like a brick: these weren't just remnants of the past, they were echoes of the family's unresolved history, ghosts yearning for release. Do you think you can bear this burden? The figure rasped, their tone a mix of challenge and dread. You are but children in a game no one wishes to play. Clara straightened, feeling her voice gain strength. We're not afraid. We'll face whatever Lillian has to say. In response, the mist erupted, swirling violently like a storm, and for a moment, Clara and Tara were swallowed by shadows. Distant voices cried out, "Free us!" The sensation was visceral, pulling on Clara's skin, making her feel like she was being both yanked forward and shoved back. Then the world shifted. With an abrupt click, everything was stark still. The walls of the attic seemed to dissolve, revealing a blurred landscape of memories and nightmares. In the heart of it, Clara saw Lillian, her spirit wreathed in sorrow, tears glistening like shards of broken glass on her ethereal cheeks. Who dares disturb my peace? Lillian's voice rang out, a blend of power and anguish. Clara's heart raced, but she pressed on. We're here to help you find peace. Your legacy doesn't have to be one of pain. The figure faltered, their wild eyes narrowing as they studied Clara and Tara intently. Do you truly wish to bear the burden of this legacy? To unveil the dreadful truth? Know this, it changes everything. Uncertainty flooded Clara's mind. What if they couldn't handle what lay beneath? But the flicker of hope ignited in her chest. If Lillian was as trapped as they were, perhaps they could break the chains of the past together. I do, Clara declared, her voice ringing clear and strong. You're not alone anymore. Lillian's gaze softened briefly, her expression a mix of gratitude and warnings. The price of freedom is steep, and the truth is a hungry beast. You might find that your soul's toll high for this revelation. Without warning, a brilliant light erupted from the journal, blinding Clara and Tara momentarily. They held their ground, shielding their eyes, waiting for the impending onslaught. The figure screamed in horror. The attic shook, the walls vibrating with energy beyond comprehension, then silence enveloped them as if time halted, leaving only the echoing breaths of fair warning. Clara felt a chill race down her spine. What now? She whispered, knowing that the confrontation had only just begun, and in that suffocating stillness, Clara's heart thundered what truth awaited them inside that blinding vortex. Would they emerge stronger, or would they be consumed by the very darkness they sought to unravel? Lillian's presence felt as heavy as the air itself, charged, electric. Clara squinted against the light, her eyes finally adjusting. The attic transformed into a ghostly gallery, a scene hung with memories, and at the center stood Lillian, ethereal but fierce. Why do you persist? Lillian demanded, her voice swirling with anguish and regret. The walls around them pulsed with an unseen rhythm, each thump echoing Lillian's battered heart. Clara's pulse quickened. She advanced slightly, fighting the urge to retreat. Because we want to help you. You deserve peace. We all do. The air shifted as Lillian's form flickered, her sorrow morphing into something darker. Help. You think you can shield yourselves from the truth? Betrayal is woven into this family's fabric. If you unravel it, you might unleash forces you cannot contain. Tara took a step closer, her eyes wide yet determined. But we won't know unless we try. Is Peter part of that truth? What happened to you? A shadow wrapped around Lillian, and she gasped, an agonizing emotion ripping through her. The mist thickened, swirling around Clara and Tara, snaking like icy tendrils trying to pull them into a deeper pain. Peter was my love, my curse, Lillian choked. He was meant to save me, but he chose ambition over loyalty. His betrayal ignited a chain reaction. Our tragedy seeped into the walls of this home, and it survives through you. Ambition? Clara echoed. What did he want? Lillian's spirit flickered with memories, shadows of laughter quickly drowning in despair. He coveted a legacy that should have been ours, a desire for power that twisted him. The night everything shattered, it was snowing, the air frigid and thick with secrets. I was blinded by trust. Clara shuddered. It was more than just a tale of love, it was a warning. If we discover this legacy, we can break the cycle, can't we? Your rage could transform into peace. Peace. Lillian spat, her eyes narrowing, embers of fury igniting in her gaze. Peace does not come without sacrifice. You do not grasp what it will cost you. What you dig for may bury you whole. Suddenly, the attic trembled like it was alive, shadows stretching and swallowing the light. Clara grasped Tara's wrist tighter as a deafening wind roared around them, spiraling into chaos. Disembodied screams and laughter intertwined in a cacophony of despair, swirling like a storm intent on tearing them apart. Hold on. Clara shouted, leaning into the tempest of emotions. We can face this together. But Tara's voice cracked through the chaos. Clara. Look. She pointed, a mixture of horror and curiosity etched on her face. The journal pulsed violently in the corner, the pages flapping as if searching for escape. Then, against all sense, figures began to rise from its shadowy outlines of those long lost, faces twisted in sorrow, the figures lunged forward, drawn by something unseen, hungry for closure. Clara's heart raced as she recognized them, ancestors caught in a bind, their eyes pleading but filled with fury, memories exploding around them like shattered glass. "They're trapped!" Tara yelled. "How do we help them?" Lillian's voice thundered through the din. "You want to save them, save me? Then you must direct your own legacy. Look deep into that journal, what you find will change your fate forever." The reality of the moment struck Clara. A decision loomed heavy before them: dare to probe the darkness to free these souls, knowing it might risk their own. Could they balance the scale of betrayal that tore Lillian apart? "Let us do it," Clara breathed, a fierce determination swelling within her. "We can't turn back now." But as they edged closer to the journal, the shadowy figures surged forth, wailing in a frenzy. The torment in their voices pressed on Clara's chest like an anvil, and she feared what if the truth they unearthed led not to salvation, but to ruin. The shrieks became a tidal wave, and Clara felt the weight of the past crashing against her. They were on the brink of a revelation that could change everything. But what awaited them beyond this threshold? Would they survive the unveiling, or would they be consumed by Lillian's legacy? As the shadows loomed, the truth hung in the air, a dark promise waiting to unfold. What devastating secrets would they uncover, and at what cost? Clara's heart thundered in her chest as she squared her shoulders, bracing for the storm she knew was about to break. Tara's hand was warm in hers, a tether in the chaos. Lillian's shadowy figures twisted around them, trapped and desperate, waiting and yearning for resolution. They were torn between the living and the dead, caught in a layer of grief that seeped through the walls like an eternal wound. Together, Clara murmured, the words solidifying their resolve. They edged closer to the journal, its pages now fluttering with purpose, wrath, and untold famished tales. "Clara," Tara whispered, urgency lacing her voice, "we have to read the rest of this. It may hold the key." The wails intensified, undulating waves of sorrow crashing against their resolve, but Clara felt something shifting. It was a call to action. With a steadying breath, Clara flipped the journal open again, searching desperately through the frenzy of emotions around them. Her fingers stumbled across a faded photo, a family portrait, indistinct faces intertwined with history. One face, however, caught her breath, a woman who looked just like her, but older. A name slipped past Clara's lips, one she had only come to realize in this moment. "Lillian," she breathed, the name echoing through the attic's stormy air. The figures seemed to still, their anguish shifting as Lillian's spirit flickered closer, eyes alive with recognition. "You dare summon me? You dare speak my name?" A witness to her sorrows. Clara and Tara stood firm, sensing urgency mingling with fear. "Yes." Clara cried out, heart surging. "You deserve peace. We want to help." With every ounce of strength, Tara added, "Your story needs to be told. Your legacy cannot end in pain." The words rolled through the attic, washing over the figures trapped in an eternal loop. For a heart-stopping beat, Clara thought they might stand a chance against the thrumming anguish, but Lillian's form shifted back, shadows gathering with a flicker of apprehension. "You truly think you can bear witness to my pain? To understand? You know not what awaits beyond this thin veil." A swell of determination coursed through Clara. "Maybe we'll bear the truth, but it will not consume us. By understanding, we can change how the past weighs down our present." "Very well," Lillian said, her tone a mix of resignation and cautious hope, the figures around them drawn in as if they could sense a change in the wind. "But know this, your family's legacy is a dangerous ship. Are you willing to weather the storm?" "I'm ready," Clara replied, the weight of her truth binding her to this moment. She gestured towards the journal. "The pages, it all starts here." As she stepped forward, the swirling shadows thickened but then parted, revealing the snatches of Lillian's world, an echo of love gone awry, betrayal lurking behind every smile. Clara's gaze glued to the pages, the ink shifting under her gaze, whispering secrets of hurt. "Peter, what did you do?" Clara spoke, almost pleading. As the words left her lips, the attic began to swirl again, propelling them through a kaleidoscope of scenes. The night of the betrayal, a house filled with laughter turned to nightmares. Suddenly, a new figure emerged. Peter, alive but haunted, his face twisted with anguish. I loved her, but ambition calls to the misguided, he lamented, eyes pleading now as he moved toward Lillian, who seemed both fierce and fragile. I was lost among desires I couldn't tame. Is the truth we seek bound in your sorrow? Tara's voice cut through the chaos. You began this tornado, what price did you pay? The shadows shifted, swirling tighter, as Lillian looked at Peter. You traded my trust for your vision, and our family splintered. Together, we can repair it, Clara urged, feeling the weight of both their histories resting on her shoulders. But we need you to guide us. Your pain has trapped you. You have to choose to release it. In that moment, Lillian and Peter's eyes locked. The agony, the love, the betrayal all colliding. Clara felt the air tremble, and stepped back, fear tinged with a burgeoning thrill of connection. Love should elevate us, not imprison us. Then silence enveloped them, pressing against air thick with a promise. Peter's eyes shimmered, gentler now. If they should choose to release me together, we can break this cycle, Tara affirmed, strength blossoming in her voice. Let the past become your guide, not your jailer. The air trembled, electric and fierce. Lillian's spirit began to glow brighter, shadowy figures condensing into visages of hope as the truth moved through them. You seek redemption, then dare to share my pain unmasked. And with that, the shadows lifted, swirling around them in a dance of recollection, memories unspooled, intertwining with Clara's heartbeat. By bearing the truth, we honor both love and betrayal, Clara whispered, each word a promise to the shadows. Clara felt warmth spreading through the room, a flicker of light piercing the inky dark. In that charged moment, as light and darkness collided, Clara and Tara exchanged a glance filled with realization their family didn't need to be defined by its past, but could embrace the legacy of love they wanted to create. With newfound strength, Clara spoke the final words that echoed through the attic, a song of freedom and release. We forgive you, Lillian. Find peace in our hearts. The chains of sorrow will not confine us anymore. The figures began to merge into a single light, swirling up and engulfing them all with warmth and resolution, fragile yet fierce. The storm thrummed, but it was no longer a tempest of anger. It was a gale of relief. And with a final pulse, the attic flooded with light as Clara and Tara stood united, facing their family's past without fear. As the light enveloped them, Clara felt a wave of peace wash over her. When the dust settled, the attic lay quiet, the journal resting at their feet, a bare whisper of the chaos that had unfolded. They looked at each other, an unspoken understanding in the air. They had faced the shadows and emerged stronger, ready to redefine their story. They could finally step into the future, unbound by the past. Now, more than ever, they had work to do. A legacy of healing was just beginning, but this was only the end of one chapter, and a new story beckoned. You need to subscribe now. Don't let the world of secrets pass you by. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and share your reactions. Flood the comments section with your thoughts about what this ending means. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.